Lizarra's Viral Growth 1 by MagnusMagneto, commissioned by me Wizard. Achoo! Lizarra was too shocked to say anything to the elderly woman who had just sneezed in her face. After feeling droplets of moisture on her skin, she quickly turned away and wiped her face with the sleeve of her shirt. Ew, this is part of why I hate taking the subway home from work, she internally screamed, trying her best to find a spot away from the woman who didn't even bother to apologize. When she finally returned to her apartment, she found her husband Jelly sitting on the couch watching TV. Hey babe, he greeted her. Hate to break the bad news, but it looks like we've got another nasty epidemic on our hands. This virus looks more serious than the last one. Lizarra groaned loudly. Really? Are we going to have to stay inside again? No lockdowns yet, he replied. But if it keeps spreading, there probably will be, and they're already advising anyone who feels sick or came into contact with anyone who did to quarantine. Images of the woman sneezing on her quickly flashed through Lizarra's mind. Oh shit, she said, turning away from Jelly. What's wrong? He asked. Her face still turned, she replied. An old lady on the subway literally sneezed in my face. He sighed. It might be all right. We can't take any chances, Jelly. You know I'd never forgive myself if I ended up getting you sick and it was serious. We'll just do what we did during the last epidemic when I was sick. So I'll be sleeping on the couch again. I'm sorry, babe, but you know how protective of you I am. It'll just be for a night or two to see if I develop any symptoms. He sighed again, though despite his apparent annoyance, he loved how much she cared for him. All right, I'll get started on dinner in an hour and knock when it's outside the bedroom door. Thanks, sweetie. Sorry for this. Don't be. I just hope you aren't sick. Me too, Lizarra said, heading towards the bedroom. Well, at least this will be an excuse to wear my favourite pyjamas, she said, changing out of her work clothes and into pink sleeping garments. She stood at an above-average 172 centimetres, with a full figure that was surprisingly muscled for how little physical training she did. She informed her job about what had happened. Fortunately, they already had protocols in place for her to work from home, and urged her to follow the recommendations to quarantine for the time being. Just as Jelly promised, he knocked on the door, leaving a large plate of food outside of the bedroom. Lizarra quickly ate it all and considered texting him to ask for seconds, but decided against it. After watching TV and browsing the internet for the rest of the evening, she called Jelly to chat for a little while before bidding him good night, saying that she wished that she never stood near the woman who sneezed on her. That night, deep into her slumber, Lizarra tossed and turned in bed while vivid lewd scenes of Jelly played in her mind. They were nearly intense enough to wake her up, and she vividly remembered them the next morning. Lizarra awoke far less groggy than usual. She felt so much more energetic that she decided to not even bother asking Jelly for her morning coffee. She touched her forehead and noticed it was extremely warm. Shit, that woman really did get me sick, she said with a groan. She texted Jelly about the fever and that they better keep their distance until it went away. Frustrated, she turned on her computer and logged into her work terminal. The last time she did this in quarantine, she found herself frequently distracted, but instead she completed all of her work in record time, with a level of focus and energy she couldn't recall ever experiencing before. She even ended up taking on extra work to help kill time. Despite Jelly providing a large breakfast and lunch, Lizarra was still hungry long before dinner time. She texted him asking for a big snack, which he happily obliged. She spent the rest of the day watching TV, her mind constantly drifting back to Jelly and thinking of how unfair it was that they were separated for now. Before bed, she felt a great deal of hunger again, summoning more food from Jelly. He became concerned that she must really be sick given the fever and how large her appetite was, figuring that her body needed the extra nutrition to heal. That night she experienced another intense, lewd dream focused on Jelly. The next morning, Lizarra felt even better than the previous one, practically jumping out of bed, bursting with energy. She quickly reached up and felt her forehead. Damn it, still hot, she exclaimed before looking at herself in the mirror. I don't know if my mind is playing tricks, she muttered, but I swear I look way better than ever. Her eyes and hair sparkled with a luster she couldn't recall seeing before, and her skin looked amazing, even without any makeup on. Wish I could ask Jelly his opinion, but I can't risk getting him sick. Feeling famished, she requested that Jelly provide double her usual breakfast. He provided, and Lizarra was a little surprised at how easily she ate it all. May as well get an early start on today's work, she decided, turning on the computer. Just like the day before, she worked at a record pace, experiencing 0 dips in her energy levels, not even the usual crash a couple hours after her morning coffee and breakfast. At lunch, she asked Jelly for another double helping of food. He obliged, but became more worried about her. Geez, she must really be ill if her body needs this much food, he thought. Lizarra managed to not only finish all of her work early, but she completed so much extra work that her job ran out of tasks for her to do, and let her log off over an hour early for the day. Man, sucks that I can't hang out with Jelly, but catching this bug has been great for my career, she said to herself with a grin. Lizarra decided that she had so much energy that she would try out one of her workout routines. Think I read that it's still good to exercise when you're sick if you feel up for it. And I feel great, she said, before dropping to the ground and starting to do push-ups. To her surprise, she not only managed to finish her usual dozen, but she was able to keep going, arms only becoming tired after 20 repetitions, and giving out after 23. She turned onto her back and performed reverse crunches, again finding herself able to do significantly more than before. Standing up, she looked down at herself and grinned. Guess I somehow got fitter since I last did these a month ago. Hey, I wonder if I can... She turned her attention to the bedroom's closet and grabbed onto its doorframe. With a grunt, she hoisted herself off the ground. Yes, I did it! A real pull-up! She cheered before managing to do another. I did 2 of them, she added, before her arms gave out and she dropped to the ground. Next, she went through various lower body exercises, squats, lunges, and even jumping jacks, performing them all with an ease she never experienced before. After ordering a before-dinner snack from Jelly, she proceeded to ask for double portions of dinner as well. He wondered how it was possible that she was eating so much food, but knew that when Lizarra requested something she meant it, and obeyed accordingly. At night, they chatted again on the phone, Lizarra enthusiastically explaining how great she felt despite the fever. Hearing this quelled Jelly's fears somewhat, but they still missed each other dearly. And like the following nights, Lizarra experienced more vivid, sexually charged dreams focused on Jelly. Lizarra awoke the next day earlier than before, feeling even more refreshed and invigorated. So much so, this time she actually leapt out of bed and onto her feet. Glancing down, Lizarra noticed that her pajamas were significantly tighter than she had ever seen them be before. With a casual look, it seemed like the sleeves were tighter on her arms and chest. Excited, she quickly stripped down to her underwear and checked herself out. I'm more muscly, she happily cheered, as she noticed lines of definition all along her body that had never existed before. She ran over to the mirror and flexed her arms, watching with glee as small, hard biceps that didn't exist before sprang up. She crunched her torso down, light 4-pack abs appearing under her command. Holy shit! Lizarra cheered before dropping to the ground and doing push-ups. To her delight, they were even easier than the day before, and she was able to finish 37 before her arms gave out. Energized, she went through all of the exercises she had the day before, enjoying better results with each one. The rest of the day played out mostly like the one before it. Lizarra ate more food than ever and accomplished more at work faster, granting her more time to hang around. At night, she considered telling Jelly about the changes in her body, but decided to keep them a surprise for now. And yet again she saw sexual fantasies of Jelly, this time featuring a version of her that was significantly more muscular. On the 4th day of Lizarra's quarantine, she rose with the sun. Immediately she ran over to the mirror and examined herself, delighting in the sight of even more physical enhancements. Her pajamas were tighter than ever, at least 2 centimeters of midriff now visible, as were the bottom couple centimeters above her ankles. "I must be getting taller," she exclaimed. "My boobs are definitely growing too," she said, grabbing them. "Looks like they're half a cup size bigger now." She quickly stripped down to see any new changes in her physique. "Yes, more muscles," she cheered, noticing that the four-pack was now rigidly defined, while the muscles in her arms bulged without tensing them. She entered a classic double biceps pose, loving the sight of bigger arms with a clearer separation between their top and bottom halves, while new lat muscles peeked out from behind. "I might be bigger than Jelly now," she cheered, before striking some more poses, noticing defined pecs behind her breasts now. Without hesitation, she started her fitness routine, now able to smoothly finish over 50 consecutive push-ups and 10 pull-ups. She added in new exercises like hanging leg raises, chin-ups and calf raises to burn more of the excess energy welling within her. Work was easier than ever, leaving Lizarra with so much spare time that she spent some of it researching the human body, trying to understand what was happening to her. None of her research yielded any explanations, instead raising even more questions. "Well, whatever's happening, I don't want it to stop," she said to herself while bouncing her breasts with her new pec muscles. "Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm starting to think it's all thanks to that woman sneezing on me." Throughout the day, she ate nearly 3 times as much food as Jelly, who was confused and worried, but hopeful that all of the nutrition was accelerating her recovery. At night, during her phone call with Jelly, Lizarra realized she no longer had a fever, but withheld this information from him. She avoided outright lying to him about what was happening, but alluded to experiencing unexpected symptoms. As much as she missed her husband, she wanted to see if she'd keep growing for at least a couple more days to really surprise him. As she slept, she had the most intense dream of Jelly yet. This time she was even bigger, and he worshipped her muscles, leading them to higher levels of arousal than ever before. And while Lizarra dreamed, her body continued to transform, becoming even taller and more muscular to make her fantasies a reality. To be continued. If you enjoyed this story, consider the supporter edition in the description. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future installments. Leave a like and comment below.